Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin Bischoff and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Home Building Hub. You're with Colin and co-host Darren Brennan as always. And today, Dazza, we're going to cover going all electric. What does it mean and what do home buyers need to know? It's something that is sort of confusing some people out there, Darren. So basically what's happened in Victoria, essentially planning permits that are submitted after the 1st of July 2024 will be requiring the home to be all electric. Now, that's in Victoria. In New South Wales, it seems that some councils have an all-electric requirement, Dazza, and that came back actually 22, 23, around those years. But it seems that some states, not e-states, like Queensland and WA, do not have these restrictions in place. So it is definitely based on the state that you're in. However, I think what we'll do is we'll provide some value to you. If you're just considering going, you know what, I don't want gas, I want to see what it's like to go all electric. What are my options? This is really the episode for you.
Great, mate. It's certainly a hot topic at the moment too, obviously, and I guess it's not to be confused with, and I'm in that confusing state. We've gone lots of electric, so solar panels on the roof, big solar system, battery, but we've still got gas, so it's not all electric, but we've gone self-sufficient electric. And that's a really cool thing to look at as well. Maybe we'll do an episode and get some experts to come in and give some advice around how to head down that path. But this is to do with not having gas connected to your home and therefore being all electric, I guess. So, yeah. And again, in some areas, Colin, obviously, we've seen some estates, and in Victoria, for example, a lot of the estates in Sunbury have headed that way already because the cost to put the gas pipeline was so high that the developers all agreed that, well, we're going to be ending up in that position anyway. So why not bite the bullet now and go down the all-electric path? So, there are certainly land estates where it is impacting wholeheartedly. Some of them, and any of the really new ones, are now having to be in that position anyway, and in due course we'll obviously head down that path. But I guess the question is, why all electric? And a few bits and pieces on this one. Climate and emission targets. So obviously Australia has a net zero target for 2050, and there was some announcement during the week about trying to get to 70% of that, or a 70% reduction on our current emissions by 2035. Again, reducing the use of fossil gas in homes for heating, cooking, hot water, and in part assisting in the emission reductions. And one part in that also is there's not a finite amount of gas available. There is suggestions about lots of it still being out there, but it's not endless regardless of that. So even if there is, and there'll be lots of political debate on this, I'm sure, but, is there 100 years, 300 years, 3 years? I'm not the expert. I don't know how much gas is left out there, but at some point we will run out regardless. So it's not just going to keep coming and coming, and they'll look at other alternatives. Another reason why is health concerns. So studies have shown that, gas indoors, so being your cooktop and heaters, emits nitrogen dioxide, which in fine particles and other pollutants. Some of the health risks are respiratory problems, asthma, etc. So, gives good reason for avoiding gas. Risk of rising costs and energy supply issues. So again, gas prices have certainly been rising, and I hate getting my gas bill these days. Cole, I'm sure you're the same, mate. It just hurts, right, every time. Also concerns about dependency, supply constraints, infrastructure costs, and the ongoing costs of servicing and maintaining the gas network. So, and again, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of these things have been in the ground a long time. What's the cost to actually come out and replace that? Is there other options? Moving to all electric appliances, especially when paired with renewable energy, is seen as a more cost efficient option over time. And again, I can reflect on the cost efficient side is, we've had a battery installed in our house for about the last 6 weeks, and nearly every day we are producing more electricity than we are consuming. So, we're seeing our electricity bill come right down now. So we're nearly 100% self-sufficient in producing electricity. And I think over that period of time, there's been 2 days when I haven't been, that I produce more electricity than I've used. So, yeah, it's certainly an easy way to look at. Regulatory and planning frameworks. So you've got states and local councils are amending the planning schemes, building codes and permitting rules to either prohibit new gas connections or require electric upgrades in new builds. So, the Victorian gas substitution roadmap is a major example of this. And an important tip is speak to your developer, that's the land developer, before you buy your block of land. And it's also, you want to understand, you can also check, off your engineering plans if there's any gas showing on those developers' engineering plans, if there's actually gas present in the estate and available if you're unable to talk to the developer. But generally, have a chat to your land developer and they'll say, yes, we've got gas connected to the street, or no, we don't. And the other side is, if you require any form of planning, then the planning permit process itself eliminates the ability for you to be able to use gas. So, a lot of people are unaware that even though the gas is in the street, they may not be able to connect to that.
Yep. That's a good point. Some people jump on and think, oh, we need to be all electric from straight away as of the first. We're talking, last year, January 1st, 2024. But it's not the case. It's more, we're starting to see some estates hit this situation where their planning permit was approved after that Jan 1st date, 2024. So therefore, that stage in that estate is an all electric stage. And we're starting to see a few of those trickle through ourselves, Daz. So yeah, it's not applicable to all. It's just something that you've got to check. Okay, so I'd still say the majority of here in Victoria of the estates are still running gas, absolutely. But
Sure.
as we see more titles sort of come through and get released and more stages get sold, it will eventually become all electric. So the area I want to highlight next, Darren, is the actual inclusions. What are the practical and tangible inclusions that will change? So the ones that we know loosely are included by most builders or all builders, really. And what are they going to change to? What are the different options? So we'll start with, there's only really sort of 4 categories. So heating and cooling changes are number 1, Dazza. So that's realistically, most builders include a gas ducted heating system, which is sitting in the roof, and it's those little round vents that you have up there where the heating pops out. Usually it's just heating, it's not cooling as well. That's usually a standard for most builders. So what the options are to replace that is to upgrade that unit to a reverse cycle ducted heating and refrigerated cooling system. So that means it's a bigger unit. It's going to do heating and cooling. Same system though, in the sense of it's vents coming through the roof, but you'll have the ability to have refrigerated cooling as well as the heating. Now that's naturally going to be more expensive, right? It's just going to cost more than the standard gas ducted heating system that sits in standard inclusions currently. Another option is to put multiple split systems throughout the house. So completely remove any vent and gas ducted system entirely, replace it with those split systems you put on the walls that you see in hotels and apartments. You could put 3 or 4 of those through the house, and that would absolutely sort you out for heating and cooling, no problem. They might be connected to a multi-head unit, which is basically a bit more of a powerful system that runs all 3 or 4 of those heads, they call. They're individually switched on and off and up and down, but there's still, the power comes from one unit rather than having 3 or 4 different condensers wrapped around the house. So that's another option. And what I've seen recently, Darren, is probably more the more, I guess, entry level option is we're going back to panel heaters on walls. So one builder I saw had, I think, called Nobo panel heaters, and they look a little sharper than they used to, than the old, excuse me, the radiator style heater. But essentially, electric wall panel, a lot of them are Wi-Fi powered and stuff like that. They look pretty sharp and pretty slick, but there might be in each room a heater like that. So I think a bedroom might be 1.5 kilowatt, a main living area might be a 2.5 kilowatt or whatever it may be, and they're just basically radiating heat off the panel. And that's probably one option that would be, that entry level. Okay, so you might find that some builders include that as standard, and then there's a promotion or an upgrade to go to the reverse ducted cycle. And we'll cover how builders are including these things separately. So that's the gas ducted in terms of the.
On
Hey?
that third option too, Cole. We were just talking earlier about, if you're an investor and you're going to have tenants living in the home, then you're going to have to put in cooling of some sort anyway now, certainly in most states under the regulations. So, when you're tenanting out the place. So if you've got panel heaters and no cooling, just be aware you're probably going to be up for an extra cost to put in if it's not already included. Some sort of cooling unit, whether that be a split system or evaporative cooling or something like that in the home. So just be aware. Sorry.
Absolutely. So the reverse ducted refrigerator is your best option, I suppose. And then the wall panel heaters would be the lower one with a split, if you're, as you said, an investment. So that's that one. Moving across to the cooking inclusions. So generally, we're all pretty used to seeing a gas cooktop as standard for new homes. So that'll be one thing that needs to be replaced. There's really two main options. The cheap option or the lower cost option is a ceramic electric cooktop. And then a more upgraded component, I suppose, a little bit nicer, is the induction cooktop, which everyone sort of knows what they are, the more flat glass, I guess, looking type thing where you put the pans on top of that. No fire, no flame, all that sort of stuff. They're probably the two options.
And a couple of things on those. One, a lot of people don't realise how hot a ceramic cooktop can get. So again, bit of a pitfall of the ceramic is the heat that it generates, and so again, doesn't avoid kids burning fingers and stuff on there. So that ceramic plate above can get really, really warm. And on the induction, if you don't have the proper type of pots and pans, and you might be up for a few $100s worth of new pots and pans. And the test on that is stick a magnet on the bottom. So you've got a fridge magnet, stick it on the bottom of your pots and pans. If it sticks, then you're in luck. If it doesn't stick, you might be up for a new set of pots and pans. So again, there's always trade-offs with all these different varieties, I guess.
Yeah. And of course it varies, different estates and different states. Like I know we moved to Queensland once upon a time, Darren, in my history, and we had to do exactly that, go and buy pots and pans that because that induction is really just common up there, and that's what it was. So you learn these lessons as you go. So that's the cooktop. It means that you're probably upgrading, potentially one of the things, you're upgrading to an underbench oven to put an induction or cooktop on top of that. So it's another thing people don't factor in. A lot of builders include a freestanding appliance. So that will need to be the oven upgraded A and the cooktop upgraded B. So things like that need to be factored in. The third one there, Darren, hot water service. A lot of builders include solar, gas, hot water. So there's one panel on the roof usually, and it's and some include gas instantaneous, like gas boosted, but gas regardless. That's just going to be replaced with what's called a heat pump system. The capacity, it can vary, 215, 280 litre, 300 litre, builder dependent, but basically it's a pretty clean swap. Take out the gas one, pop in the heat pump, and that's all electric, and off you go. I guess more energy efficient, but higher in outlay upfront for that upgrade, right? So it's hot water service. And then to help all this work, you can't just throw in a whole bunch of appliances and not to expect to upgrade your power. So instead of single phase, you'll probably need to upgrade your house to a 3-phase power in order to run all of these new electrical items throughout the house. Okay, so that's another one that people don't really factor in, Daz. But long story short, if you want to summarize that, if you want to go all electric, you probably have to look at your heating, your cooling, swapping over a gas top to an electric induction, hot water service upgrade, and then power, 3-phase power to run all of those items.
Yeah, for sure. And the other issue with that too, Cole, is not everywhere is 3-phase power available. So you may end up with high amperage, single-phase power being required. And again, depending on what your neighbour's already done, depending on how that's connected in. If it's out of an electricity pit, there's often limitations to what that can look like. So again, make sure you talk to your builder, and they'll have to consult their experts around what's available, how's that going to work, is it suitable. They can look up the details about three-phase, whether it's available or not on that lot. But if it's not, then they might end up with, like I say, high output single phase. But again, and they're both similar costs, so they're generally extra costs. I've started to notice also some builders are starting to include three-phase in their standard inclusions up front, whereas others are charging extra for that. So that probably leads into our next part of the episode, which is how builders include these items into their quotes and inclusions and pricing. And I guess it's a bit like you just mentioned standard inclusions. It's not one size fits all, unfortunately. So you're going to have to do your homework when you're trying to break down what am I getting and what am I not getting, right? So some builders have basic inclusions up front. We've always seen that out in the marketplace, which means you get a cheaper base price, right? But more upgrades required at additional cost. So to try and meet these, and some of them are hovering everything included in their base price, meaning there's no need to spend any extra money, right, to upgrade most of these items, or you could be somewhere in between. So, it really depends. So with all electric, I guess here's how it could look. So some builders may include all electric at no cost. And we're seeing a little bit of that out there in the base price. Obviously, it's a great option, but just because it says all electric, don't assume you don't need to check out what you're actually getting included, right? So the cheaper options may be that you're ending up with a ceramic cooktop when you were hoping you were going to get I've gone blank on the other variety, Colin.
Induction. Yep.
An induction cooktop, for example. So again, you're going to end up with varying levels of inclusion, even though they're saying they're including all electric. This would essentially mean no further upgrades, which is great. So you could be considered all electric, but the base house price will have taken this cost into account. So don't think it might be included, it won't be for free. It's coming at a cost, obviously. And again, the builder will work out how they're going to trade off what credits they apply for what would have been a ducted heating unit if it was already in the base price, etc. What buying opportunities they've got, how they're looking at leveraging that. Like you said, they'll look at different ways and means so they can say, hey, we're all electric, but you're getting wall panels and they're individuals and they're just plugged into a power point in each room, they're screwed to the wall. So all these different options are available out there. Some builders, and I would suggest that a lot of builders are still offering the gas inclusion, and we're also seeing a lot of buyers, particularly the Indian buyers, wanting to have gas included in the home, even if it's all electric. So the option on that would be you can do a gas bottle external and have gas run in, say, for example, to your cooktop, and have a gas cooktop. It might only be a single one gas cooker, and the rest be induction, for example. So there's different options available. But if you did really want to have gas, still, bottled gas is an option. Talk to your builder about what that could potentially look like. Again, though, you can go from cheaper panel heaters and ceramic cooktops, which might be $5,000 or $10,000, or to the more superior induction cooktops and ducted heating and refrigerated cooling, which could cost anywhere between, say, $10,000 and $25,000, depending on house size, and in some cases even more, Colin, because if you need two ducted reverse cycle units, then you're up for big bucks. You might be in a 50, 60 square home, double story with lots of voids. All of a sudden you need two of these units to really operate efficiently. So it can start to get very costly. Other builders might split it up a bit, either putting some items in the base price and then having other items included, in promotional items, and again, they're trying to just mask the scary price, I guess, is the key in that. So some include three-phase power and a heat pump as standard inclusions. So again, offsetting some of that cost. then the heating and cooling upgrades in a promotion, leaving an induction cooktop as the only upgrade example that you might need to take into account. So again, there's different ways of cooking all this up. Do your research, talk to your different builders, find out exactly what you're getting, because I'm going to suggest if you've got two quotes in front of you right now, they're probably not the same inclusions. So you're considering a same cost with different things in it, right? So don't assume that you're getting all electric and it's all the same, because it does make a fair difference in terms of the inclusions that you're getting. Because, you know, again, an induction cooktop is far superior to a ceramic cooktop. That being said, if you're cooking a bowl of pasta, you can still cook a bowl of pasta on either one, right? So the cheaper option doesn't necessarily mean you can't cook the same outcome of food. It just means you're not getting quite as nice an option available to you. I guess that's probably it. There's so many different combinations of all this, Cole.
There is.
Yeah, it's.
I think there is, and the truth be told, I think a lot of builders are still to navigate the best way to do that. Like, I don't know if putting panel heaters and a split system and ceramic cooktop is good enough. Is it enough? I don't know. But I do know if I put all the in our standing inclusions, which we've still got gas, and when required, we upgrade to all electric and we give the people the options. That's where we sit. And I know you sit 50-50. You've got like 3-phase and a heat pump included, and then a promo for your heating cooling system. Like we're all trying to work it out at the minute. But I guess we're just trying to highlight to you, if it's all electric, here are your options. Some builders will have them in, some builders will have a little bit in and a little bit out, and some will just not have it in at all. And it's trying to balance that, you know, the upfront pricing, you know, the base price, making it competitive and appealing. Because if you walk in and you see a base price that's too high, you won't even have the discussion. And you might not realise that base price has absolutely everything and all upgrades you ever thought of. And then you go to the other builder that's really starting with nothing, and then by the time you bolt it all on, you're only ending up at the price the other one started at anyway. So it's quite common to be confused at that. So hopefully this episode elaborates on your options a little bit, and not only in Victoria, in all states. And yeah, that's really the goal, Daz, of the whole podcast, isn't it? Provide a bit of value. So if you like what you've heard, listen to, or watch, then guys, please give us a review. 5-star review would be lovely. If you've got any other topic ideas, things like that, just jump onto the website, send us a little email, homebuildinghub.com.au. We'd appreciate that. Other than that, we hope it's been helpful, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Home Building Hub. As part of the podcast, we have to be a little careful to cover ourselves on a legal standpoint. So we do have a disclaimer. Whilst we're all about providing value to you, this podcast should not be considered legal or financial advice. It does contain general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your own personal situation before you make any legal or financial decisions.